In my career working with people, what I have come to see again and again and again is how people that have physical pain in the body, chronic pain is what we call it in healthcare. And I have a background in physical therapy. For the past 27 years, I graduated at age 22. And the things that I have come to see help us to heal, to release the pain naturally, is when someone is listening to us with love, without judgment. And when people can talk about what happened to them and they don't feel judged, is so healing for them. A lot of what I teach my clients over Zoom, over the phone, in person, is how to also feel safe enough and supported that they can feel what's really coming up for them, and for them to also accept what's coming up for them and allow themselves to feel their authentic self, their true self. I also teach clients by the way that we relate, which is very honestly, transparently, lovingly, what that feels like. So many of us don't even know what it feels like to have someone who's present, who's listening, who's loving, where they genuinely care to know and understand you. Another benefit of working in this way that I see for my clients is that they learn how to be vulnerable, to share their true feelings, and learn to be comfortable sharing their true feelings, even if at times they feel uncomfortable. So many of us don't even bother because we feel we don't like to feel discomfort. And it's really a protective mechanism. So it's not that you don't like it, it's that you didn't learn how to feel the pain, feel those uncomfortable emotions. So it's so important for us to have compassion for ourselves. Because if your parents said, "Be quiet, stop crying, go to your room, stop crying," or if our parents couldn't listen to us, if we felt that no one was there for us, we don't learn how to go through those moments where we're not feeling good. And so a lot of us, we don't feel good about not feeling good. And that's why we numb out, or we dissociate, we check out, or we seek drugs or addictions, to numb out perfectly. We do that perfectly because that's the best we can cope. And so I teach people to feel comfortable about feeling uncomfortable and to feel safe enough that they can open up, even if they don't know how. We create this space where you're leaning back and you're starting to feel safe in the room that you're in and in your body, and that it's safe to open up, even if it feels uncomfortable to open up. And so sometimes when we feel uncomfortable, we're like, "Oh no, this isn't good for me." So what if we could start to build this tolerance of not feeling good? We can tolerate not feeling good, and so that we just stay with ourselves more often. We become emotionally available to our own selves. And we start to notice, what does that feel like for me to start to accept the unacceptable me? And we start to discover what that feels like, to care and appreciate for the parts of us that we didn't love about ourselves. Healing means to become whole, to reconnect, to feel whole and complete is to heal. And in this work, in the ALVA Method, we are reclaiming our parts. We are remembering. We are resolving our traumas. We are reconnecting to the parts that we disconnected from, that we had to disconnect from in order to survive as children, as teens. And so I think of myself as a fairy godmother. I represent the unconditionally loving parts of ourselves, our parents. We learn how to reparent ourselves. We don't wait for our parents to forgive us or for us to feel that our parents finally, validated us. We validate ourselves. We learn how to sit with our anger and process our anger and our rage and our sadness. We learn how to do this in a healthy way. We learn how to honor whatever we suppressed and to feel and flow the unexpressed, the darkness, some people call this, the parts of us that we walk around with that we don't want to show anybody because we're ashamed. You see, what I've learned in this work is that when our parents ignore us, when we feel abandoned, when we feel devalued, when we feel ignored, when we feel not understood, not considered, we shame ourselves. It causes us shame to have parents that didn't pay attention to us. That void is even more hurtful than parents that yelled at us, supposedly. This is just what I've heard from certain teachers and teachings. So there's some of us that were like, well, my parents were wealthy, they gave me everything. I had a pretty non-eventful childhood. But then when we dig deeper, there's this inner shame, inner sadness, because we weren't supported emotionally. And it's not something we can see. And then people wonder why they say, I don't really feel love or feel happy or feel joy, or I'm just kind of here. And when it comes to relating with my parents, some people say, I can't say that I really feel deeply this love for my parents. And those are usually the people that they didn't feel that their parents were there for them, but they gave them everything: the food, the shelter, the cars, the free college, the tuition. They pay for their school. But do they open up and share who they really are with their parents? No. So in the workshops that I've created on purpose based on the things that I've seen are lacking in traditional ways of healing, like psychology, physical therapy, because I myself went to therapy after my divorce, and I discovered how much the abandonment, when my father left when I was 14, I felt so abandoned and I felt so sad, and I couldn't tell my mom, hey mom, I miss dad, because she just divorced him and she couldn't stand him. And so I had no one to talk to about this emptiness that I felt, this sadness that I felt that my dad, the man that I loved so much for 14 years of my life, was gone. So I wonder sometimes, is it worse for your parent to die at that age and they're just gone? Or for them to just move to another country and never call you? I wonder which one of those is more painful. Of course, I can only feel what I feel. I only had my things happen to me, right? But that's the story I made up in my mind, was I'm not worthy. I must not be lovable. There must be something wrong with me. And I made up all these stories in my head about what I am because of what my dad did. So how many of us are living right now, even at age 40, 50, you might even be 60, and you're still living, telling yourself that story about yourself that you told yourself as a child because of what your parents did to you as children. Whether it was your dad touched you inappropriately, your parents yelled at you, maybe they left, maybe they kicked you out of their house. You know, maybe they would yell a lot, maybe they didn't pay attention to you. And so in this work, we go back in time and we process the hurts in our bodies, because that's where it is. And so we actually travel inside. We gain this, it's called interoceptive awareness. We go inside, we do these type of meditations where we are practicing being unconditional loving to ourselves, and we learn how to reparent ourselves, how to refather and remother. We learn how to nurture our feminine and our masculine energies within us. We learn how to amplify the love hormone. We learn how to stimulate the healing hormone. And we learn how to have this ability to really be there in the present moment, available to all the different sensations as they arise. And this is something we learn over time. And in that process of listening, actively listening, choosing to stay, even if it might feel uncomfortable at times, we build grit, we build resilience, and it takes a lot of courage to work together. To do this type of deeper healing work, it takes a lot of courage, will, commitment, readiness, desire, and belief that you can be free. That you can be free from all the woundedness, and that you can transform it into wisdom. And that's what I've done. I have so much wisdom that I've gained that it has led me to work with people, teaching them how to massage themselves, how to touch themselves in a loving way, how to stay even if they feel like they don't want to touch themselves, even if it feels like crap to touch yourself because you're like, ugh, I'm so disgusted with myself. I don't like my body. So even if that's how you feel, I teach people how to have this relentless desire to want to connect, to desire, to wish to connect, even to those disconnected, shameful parts. And when we start to do that with ourselves, healing happens. People just start to cry. People start to release that energy of judgment inside, shame inside, guilt inside. It just happens because there's so much love hormone flowing in your body that the body just transmutes everything that is not love. In this ALVA Method approach, we're teaching people how to be unconditionally loving to themselves, how to forgive themselves, how to feel inside of their bodies, and how to also accept the feelings as they arise. And that leads to freedom. That's called compassion. To sit with our suffering is compassion. That's the definition of compassion. So you get to feel what it feels like to have been loved by your parents, because that's what we've been missing, so many of us. And that's why we have chronic pain in the body, a lot of us. And we just don't talk about these things enough. Emotional pain manifests as chronic pain. I've seen this again and again and again. I'm not talking out of my ass. I've seen it. And when people sit there with me, whether it's on the phone, on Zoom, or in person, and we do these processes, we go through these approaches, these moment-to-moment active listening, being compassionate, going into the body, going into the actual body in a deeper, intimate way with yourself. Whew. It's like bubbles coming up in the water. It just releases. It just processes. And the more a person feels safe and is motivated and willing to do this work, everything just, it just starts to happen. So you can override your resistance, your fears. You can learn how to calm your nervous system. I'll teach you how. You can learn how to be open and feel safe and trust yourself. I'll teach you that again and again and again, to show up with yourself and to feel that you are free, that you can be free of your past. You can deeply connect to the true self, your true essence, which is love, your authentic self. It is possible, and you can live with so much peace. You can live with so much acceptance of your parents and yourself and the world. And right now, we're really being challenged to accept what's happening in the world. That doesn't mean that we're okay with what's happening with the world. We just choose to accept it so that then we can really focus on our own healing. And from that, you will get inspirations of how to help the world, which is what's happening with me. You will do things and take actions to help support the healing of the world. Because the world is just reflecting ourselves. Many, many, many millions and millions and billions of us are in pain right now. And I know this might sound really hard, but we're killing ourselves slowly, many of us. We're killing ourselves slowly by stuffing down our emotions. We're not meant to be living, thriving, stuffing down our emotions. We're hurting ourselves every single day. It's the highest form of act of self-love is to invest in yourself and make the time to be intimate with yourself. And I don't mean have sex with yourself. I mean be intimate with yourself by feel your feelings. Let yourself feel what's really there. That is intimacy. Into me I see. And to make the time, and this is why I have 100 meditations on my YouTube channel, Michelle Alva TV. Make the time every single day, at least once a day, twice a day if you can, to listen to the daily practice meditation. It's 17 minutes. It's at the top of the playlist in purple. And start to feel deeper and breathe in a way that causes you to feel and expand. And this is where it begins. And if you feel called and ready and willing to make yourself a priority, schedule a free clarity call with me. And I'll let you know how we can work together, whether it's through one of my online programs, through the phone, through Zoom, in person, coming to one of my workshops or deep dive retreats, where we spend time cultivating feeling comfortable, feeling uncomfortable over 5 hours, or 3 days, or 4 days, or 5 days, or a week. So you get to create it however you wish to create it, and we get to co-create deep and profound healing, reconnection, empowerment, and deep self-love, the deepest form of self-love, where you realize that our parents are us. We come from our parents. And so how could we really hate them? How could we want to live blocking them, hating them with resentment? That's not love. Love is, I choose to love the unlovable in me and in others. I choose to accept the unacceptable me and the unacceptable in others. I choose to forgive the unforgivable. I choose to release the unreleasable. This is love. And I choose to be a part of the solution in the world by being my own source of solution in my own life and stop hurting myself in my own life. And so from my heart to your heart, I'm sending so much love. I was woken up to record this today and to put it on my YouTube channel. And I want you all to know that every single day, I do the work of really showing up for myself every single day. And sometimes, things happen that are challenging for me with my mom, with my dad, with my teenager, with friends that I thought were my friends. There's people that I feel, I get to have more compassion as I do this work, and I show up with more love. I'm walking around. Someone told me that I'm a Valentine's Day walking around. You know how Valentine's Day, there's so much love. She goes, Michelle, you're a walking Valentine's Day. And you know, sometimes people get triggered. It's a lot of love that I walk around being. That sometimes that shows people where they're not loving themselves. And sometimes people aren't ready for that. And the connection that I have with my sexuality, how I love my body and how I love myself, and I feel so alive at age 49, and I feel so much love, and I feel, it might sound funny, but I mean, I feel sexual all the time. You know, I feel horny all the time. That doesn't mean I'm humping everybody, but I feel my sexual energy and I love it. And there's no more shame in my body. There isn't. I love that I am a radiant, sensual woman. And sometimes that way that I'm being, that I am, it triggers people who are not ready to see their own fully embraced wild woman, ignited lover inside. And right now you might feel that. Maybe you were raised in a way that suppressed the feminine, sensual, sexy side of us. Believe me, I lived disconnected from that part of me most of my life. I only started to discover my sexual self-pleasuring practices since I was 38 years old, probably 39. 10 years ago of my life, I've only started to reconnect with myself. I've only been reconnecting to all of myself the past 10 years of my life. And I'm 49 now. So I get to have so much compassion for everyone, even more, and for myself, and not take it personally when people can't understand what sacred sexuality means. When people question the things that I am about or the things that I teach my clients about their sexuality, that people are like, well, you know, you're teaching people how to pleasure themselves? Why? Isn't that for their partner to do? So your sexuality is yours, and it is your healing energy, your creative energy is your sexual energy. It's so amazing how God, creator, source, universe created us to make it so that when we have sacred sexual experiences, heart connected, loving, totally vulnerable and available, and that causes, that inspires whole body orgasm, that is stimulating the healing hormone. The healing hormone is the love hormone. When we bring love into our sexual experiences, when we bring love into our lives, we heal. Amazing, right? And then that stimulates our creative energy. That's why I'm so creative. I made 100 meditations around my YouTube channel. I've created all these different programs. I've been inspired to create this approach, the Amplify Love Vibrate Abundance approach. And it is here to serve you. And there's many ways to access it without paying anything on YouTube. And I'm creating a new platform where you're going to get even more intimate, exclusive content by becoming a part of the ALVA Love community. Okay? And so this is what the world, I feel, everybody learning this approach can be more loving and accepting and have more time to create and be a part of the solution. Rather than living in scarcity or lack, we can live in abundance. We can live in community, and we can create an uprising of the collective consciousness where we are really living aligned to our true essence: love, compassion, acceptance, forgiveness, appreciation, gratefulness, thriving, abundance. And all of us can rise together. This is what I stand for. And if you're super excited like I am right now, message me, schedule a call. Let's work together. Or come to an event. I'm offering free online events now, an Insight Timer through the platform Entree, and Insight Timer, and just on my own in my Eventbrites. And so you can go to michellealva.com or my Linktree link at the description of this video, and there's always going to be the current live, online, or in-person events there. And I wish you all so much love. And I'm sending love to our earth, to all the animals, to all the beautiful natural beings, the plants, the animals, us. And I'm doing my best here because I care so much about the world to do something about it instead of complaining about it. This is my way of sharing from the heart, where please spend time every day feeling that we are healed, feeling that the world recycles, feeling that we no longer make things that hurt us and that hurt our animals and our earth. It's only going to begin, though, when we stop abusing ourselves, when we stop hurting ourselves, when we get out of that toxic relationship with ourselves. That's what I stand for, because today I refuse to do things that I'm not really motivated to, that I feel are going to hurt, that are not in alignment with my heart and soul. I more easily say no to things. I get lots of offers in many different ways. And I check in with my heart. I check in with my gut. Check in with my soul. Am I gravitating towards this? Is this a yes for me? And I honor myself. And I tell that person the truth. So I'm no longer people pleasing like I used to, or being fake. I say how I feel, and it serves that person. It's a gift. I've had people tell me, thank you so much for being so honest. Wow, I had no idea. Or wow, you say that in such a loving way. It's possible. So may you have the most beautiful day. And let's take a deep breath in through the nose and feel this richness of aliveness, of love. Thank you, nature, for this oxygen. Thank you, God, for my life. Thank you, Creator, for my life. And let's breathe. Take a deep, full breath throughout the day. Breathing in life to the fullest, to the fullest. Now is the time. Thank you.